It's a classic Aussie road trip, the legendary Pacific Coast from here in Sydney, right up the coast to Brisbane. We're about to experience its highlights from the Hunter Valley, Port Stephens, Great Lakes, Nambucca Heads, Coffs Harbour and the Tweed Valley. The legendary Pacific Coast features in this episode of Travel Oz. Hello, I'm Greg Grainger. Ahead, harvest time in the Hunter Valley. Kayaking on Port Stephens. Oysters and fishing on the Great Lakes. And amazing bird life around Nambucca Heads. We'll enjoy a very special experience with dolphins and seals in Coffs Harbour. And a swim with turtles up the Tweed coast. So let's hit the road. Our classic road trip begins right on Sydney Harbour, Australia's most impressive icons to be admired once more before we set off on a journey that will cover almost 1,000 kilometres. From Sydney, we'll head north to the Hunter Valley, then on to Port Stephens, the Great Lakes, before reaching Nambucca Heads. A swim with the dolphins in Coffs Harbour, then north again to Tweed Heads before reaching our final destination, Brisbane. Our first stop, just 90 minutes north of Sydney, is the Hunter Valley, full of boutique vineyards and fresh produce. We're on the Around Hermitage food and wine trail at harvest time. Today, the hand pickers are out in force at the Leo Gate estate, where I'm joining cellar master Danny Margaritadine. Now, you do mix it up here. We're watching the machinery down the back here, so your mechanical picking, and we're also doing it by hand. You've had 60 pickers here this morning, backpackers and the like. So why the two different forms of picking?
With machine picking does come a lot of juice. Throws the grapes around and the juice fills up in the bins.
So what you're saying is that good old-fashioned hands give us the better grape pickers.
They certainly do, no doubt about that.
And what's the reward? We've done all this hard picking. After the picking, do we enjoy a glass of Shiraz?
Well, believe it or not, we really like beer. So they say that a lot of good wine is made out of a lot of beer that we drink.
Next stop in the winemaking process is crushing, then fermenting, with wooden barrels still the preferred storage method, according to master winemaker Keith Tulloch. So out of the wooden barrels, we're getting a fresh Chardonnay?
Absolutely. By putting it into barrel as juice, adding the yeast and having it fermenting in here, it generates warmer temperatures and a lot of complexity.
I'll give it a go. So how alcoholic is that now?
Only about 2%. So it's mainly juice still.
Tastes like a cordial.
Yeah. Well, the gas, it produces a lot of carbon dioxide gas when it ferments, so you're getting the bubble of the gas, as well as the brightness of the fruit. You're looking at local produce, local fruit made by people who know what the area should do, into world-class wines that people can enjoy and buy from the family, buy from the people.
Fresh food like olives are also grown and processed here in the Hunter, as Tintilla owner Bob Lusby testifies.
You just strip them easily, they come off, and we just drop them in the bucket. These are a Spanish variety called Manzanello. We've been doing this now for 20 years, and when we started out we weren't too sure what would happen, but it's worked out very well for us, really.
Inside, Bob shows me the Spanish method of allowing the olives to ferment.
We go through a natural process of fermenting which maintains the flavour and structure. So these are some Manzanello Spanish variety.
Right, can we taste?
Go ahead.
All right, and you?
Yes, I will. But they stay in these barrels for up to a year, and we bottle them and then sell them in the cellar door.
Wonderful, let's try another one.
Yeah, go for it.
You like your olives?
I love them. Yeah. So we really want to make sure that they're all good quality when they go in, and then we just put some salt water in, and it's just a subtle way of pasteurising them.
So a few more additives now.
Now we put in some garlic, just a little bit of chilli. So we put a slice of lemon.
What would you call this?
It's a manzanillo, Spanish variety of olive, with chilli, garlic and lemon.
Locally grown olives, local wine, all consumed locally with our newfound friends.
Travelers.
Port Stephens is sometimes called Australia's blue water paradise because of its extensive waterways. It's just such an ecologically clean environment, screaming out to be explored, as we're doing today by kayak with Michael Hogg. All right, Michael, we've got some great early morning weather here, pretty calm, wind coming up.
Yep. It's going to be a good paddle, I reckon.
So what sort of exploring are you doing by kayak?
We're going to go paddling through a couple of the sanctuary zoned areas of the marine park, protected areas, where there's of course an ecosystem that is important to keep protected. It's primarily what's underneath us in this harbour is sand. It's a very sandy area. The whole peninsula as well is extremely sandy. You've got to preserve that, and you've got to actually educate people on the importance of the preservation of it.
So the dolphins, what brings them in here?
Well, I think they've always been here, to my knowledge. I mean, I remember walking home from school every afternoon and just seeing them swimming, you know, knee-high deep in water along the beachfront. And back in those days, it was nothing to us. It's just like, oh, yeah, there's a dolphin. He's one of the locals. It's just simply provided a fantastic breeding ground and a food source for these local dolphins to just stay here. They don't need to go anywhere else.
Guarding the entrance to Port Stephens is Mount Tomaree. Let's climb that. Our guide, local environmentalist John Clark. Well, here we are at the base. We're going to climb that, John. How long?
Well, it'll take me 15 to 20 minutes.
And me?
Probably 10.
I'm right by your side.
Okay, we can do it. Yeah, no worries.
So, special place. Are we keeping it that way? Are we conserving?
We're doing a good job. We've got a handle on it, but we've got to keep a close grip of that handle because it can slip away very easily. Gosh, have you seen anything more beautiful? I mean, the headlands, the entrance to this harbour, have got to be the most beautiful that I've ever seen.
Let's put a spring in our step. Oh, mate.
Easy,
Mate. Look at this. Look at this.
You won't beat this.
Something, mate. We made it. We made the summit of Mount Tomaree. Good climb.
Wonderful climb.
And a wonderful collection of beautiful islands just off the coast here, including Broughton.
And each of the islands have their own personality. It was declared Marine Park 6 years ago. This makes this place unique. No one else can really match it along our east coast.
Still more water to explore, this time with a family of black swans as we travel north along the legendary Pacific coast. Still further north, the Great Lakes, a touch of fishing, a taste of oysters. The Great Lakes are a natural water paradise made up of Smiths, Wallace and Mile lakes and teeming with bird life and fish. Taking me out today is local fishing guru Tony Elkins. Now you're making a living of catching these fish for other people and you're doing quite well?
Yes, we travel reasonably well. We have some really good fishing days.
And you've certainly got plenty of waterways to do that. These Great Lakes seem to go forever.
They do. The area of the Wallace Lake is 58 square kilometres. It's 5 times bigger than Sydney Harbour.
First stop, find some cockles.
We're just going to pull in on this tall weed that's floating on the surface. It's known as cockleweed. We're going to lift a piece of it up and hopefully there'll be some cockles on the base of it. So we just, this weed's just an indication that there's cockles in the area. And there's a cockle on the end of the weed.
And that's good for eating?
It's good for eating.
Or bait?
Or bait. The area's got to be cleared by fisheries before you're allowed to take it for human consumption. This weed attaches to the cockle itself and just supports itself. So this root system's still intact, and you just let that back down, and the weed will continue to grow in the environment.
Next, catch our bait, saltwater pink nippers. And that's what we've been looking for, saltwater pink nippers, or also known as yabbies.
Alrighty, here you go.
Time then to cast a line.
I think I've got some sort of pressure on there. We're
All
going
right, just wind him up. Just keep the rod tip up high. Yeah, there's definitely something on there. You can. That's a nice sand whiting you've got there.
Let's have a look. Got a bit of kick in him.
Nice solid fish, that one.
The Great Lakes are also famous for their oysters. Oyster beds are spread all over these lakes, with Graham Barclay heading the biggest producer.
So what we're watching here today, these oyster trays being put in the water, taken out of the water, you move them around.
It takes 4 years to grow an oyster from the time we catch it to maturity. So over that period of time, oysters have probably moved once or twice at least a year.
We've certainly got a damn lot of oysters out there. We're collecting them from the water. You bring them straight back in here. You've got teams of men breaking them off. So you're the biggest oyster operation in Australia?
Yes, we are.
Can we try a bit of quality control now?
Absolutely.
All right, one for me. Thank you so much. You don't get them much fresher. That was in the water how long ago?
Only opened today, so.
Fantastic. That is soft, sweet.
Very sweet.
Pretty damn good. Can I try another one?
Absolutely.
Just to make
Help
sure, make sure there's been no quality deterioration in the last 10 seconds.
Travel, travelers.
Further up the legendary Pacific coast is Nambucca Heads, a taste of Indigenous cooking and some wildlife experiences in a classic waterway. Nambucca Head sits on the Nambucca River, a waterway renowned for a whole assortment of water skiing and towing activities. Further upstream, a placid backwater known as the Valley of the Mist. Now this is a place of tranquility. Dragonflies are plenty, and often shrouded in mist. It's here, amongst the wallabies and prolific bird life, that I find local environmentalist Dennis Ryan.
Well, what a backyard you've got.
We've got just over 118 acres here, and we only farm 7 acres, and the rest is totally for the wildlife.
Now these black swans, a good sized flock of these here, and we're seeing little cygnets, plenty of those.
It's one of the main nesting areas for the black swan on the east coast of Australia. Wallaby numbers have increased, mainly ones that live around the wetland here, is the swamp wallaby, of course. This year is the first time that I've witnessed a new white-breasted sea eagle build a nest. And I've watched them hatch out, so that's been great.
So you're able to eke out a living, not only taking people around your waterway here, but also the whole bush tucker experience.
Yes, apart from this wonderful bird life, the Valley of the Mist is a working bush tucker farm with its 50 hectares of gardens growing a wide assortment of native fruits, all of which can be eaten. It's a big conversion back to nature from the cattle farm that Dennis took over here.
Well, back on dry land, we're seeing that you've got a lot of indigenous plants. You've planted these are the Davidson plums, eh?
That's correct.
So it looks red and juicy inside. It looks great, looks healthy.
Yes, it is very healthy, actually.
Bit sour.
It's very sour, not a bit, very.
Come on.
Okay.
You go for it, I'll go for it.
Half a dozen to 10 of these will detox you.
Okay.
That's what they say.
Back on the Nambucca River, we sampled Dennis's bush tucker at the Janning Tree, operated by Indigenous Master Chef Clayton Donovan.
Clayton, hello.
How you going?
Good. This is what a fantastic restaurant. You are the original Indigenous local cooker with one hat.
We try to incorporate into the menu as much local food as we can, and yeah, just spice it up with some Indigenous aspects. We've got some chocolates, some dark chocolates, some local raspberries. We've got some wattle seed down the front and some Davison plum from my mate Dennis and Marilyn's farm, Valley of the Mist.
All right, let's go to it, eh?
No problem. Bit of balsamic reduction with some wattle seed.
So there's the wild violas, eh? Finally the chocolate, white chocolate.
There you go.
What a place, what a wild dish.
There you go.
Let's go and eat it. And now the chocolate wattle seed mousse.
Yeah, with some raspberry and some Davison plum.
Looks absolutely fantastic. And what a setting. Clayton, you're right here on the Nambucca River. Beautiful setting.
I grew up in the area. It's really nice to come back and be able to do something like this.
Travelers.
Another hour drive north and we reach Coffs Harbour, the banana capital of Australia. We're about to have some very special experiences with seals and dolphins.
Coffs Harbour boasts Australia's most livable climate. That's the findings from Australia's peak scientific body, the CSIRO. With plenty of unspoiled waterways, Coffs has become a mecca for fishermen and tourists. Even the eastern grey kangaroos find conditions perfect for exploring the beaches. It's what some would call a roo with a view. It's at Coffs Harbour's Dolphin Marine Magic Pool that we encounter playful penguins, boisterous seals, and a pool full of the most delightful dolphins.